Close your eyes and hear this truth. You are not waiting on your desire. Your desire is waiting on you to rise, to elevate, to vibrate at the frequency of what is already yours. The world around you is not fixed. It bends it, molds it, reshapes according to your vibration. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the cause. What you radiate, you attract. If you hold low thoughts, you will see a low world. But when you rise, internally rise, you will see mountains move. Vibration is simply your state of being. You do not manifest through effort, you manifest through alignment. The higher you vibrate, the faster creation flows through you. Joy is a magnet. Gratitude is a portal. Love is a key. These are not emotions, these are frequencies, and the universe responds to frequency, not words. So imagine not lightly, but boldly, with depth, with emotion, with certainty. See yourself already there, already living what you once longed for, not in the future. Now accept it as already done, and your world must obey the moment you feel it real. The unseen goes to work. The invisible becomes visible, but you must not waver. Persist in the assumption, hold the feeling even when appearances lie. Especially when they lie, your job is not to chase or strive. Your job is to become the version of you that already has it. The shift is internal, and when you vibrate higher, manifestation does not take time. It takes acceptance. So today I urge you, stop lowering yourself to match what is fading. Rise to meet what is calling, vibrate higher, and you will manifest faster. Because the moment you become it, it must come to you. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. This is the most misunderstood truth in all of creation. The world around you is nothing more than a mirror, faithfully reflecting back the state. You consistently dwell in people. Believe they must work harder, push more, chase endlessly after what they desire, yet they do not realize that the outer world is secondary. It is the echo. The origin lies within. The secret is not in the doing, but in the being, your inner state. What you feel, assume, and believe to be true about yourself, and life broadcasts a silent frequency. This frequency is your vibration. It is not heard by the ears, but it is registered by reality. The moment you shift your state, the world must shift in response. But because the world seems so solid, so separate, we tend to ignore the invisible cause and blame the visible effect. Desire alone changes nothing. Wanting something, no matter how deeply, does not draw it to you. What draws it to you is becoming the version of yourself who already has it. You must embody the outcome. That is, you must feel the reality of the desire fulfill so deeply that your consciousness cannot distinguish between what is imagined and what is perceived. When you persist in an inner state of lack, you do not move toward your goal. You only deepen the distance. If you feel unworthy, if you feel desperate, if you feel incomplete, those feelings form the vibration you emit in life. Being completely impersonal reflects it back to you in kind. You meet experiences, people, and events that affirm what you are already being inside, but when you deliberately shift inward, something extraordinary happens. When you begin to feel worthy, blessed, and whole. Not because the world gave it to you, but because you decided it. You change your entire vibration. And life, like a loyal servant, must obey. This is why it is said that to him who has more shall be given, because the one who feels abundance attracts abundance. The one who feels love receives love. Not because they seek it, but because they have become it. The inner state is not dependent on conditions, it is the cause of them. You must become quiet enough to recognize what you are vibrating. If you are anxious, pause. If you are worried, observe. If you are bitter, release, and then choose again. Choose deliberately to dwell in peace and faith, in love. The moment you do, you've already moved realities. The world you see may not change instantly, but the blueprint has been altered. Creation is finished. All possibilities exist. Now, the only thing that separates one outcome from another is your alignment with it. And alignment is nothing but sustained vibration. The more consistently you dwell in the inner state of your desire fulfilled, the more quickly it materializes around you. It is not magic, but law. And the law is always working, whether you believe it or not. Do not be fooled by appearances. The world will test your commitment. It will whisper doubt. But stay faithful to your state. Choose to remain in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, no matter what the senses show, because the senses only echo the past. The future is formed in consciousness. Your inner world is the soil. What you water with emotion grows. So stop trying to force the outer world to bend. That is not your task. Your only task is to assume the feeling of your desire is already yours, to vibrate in harmony with it, and to watch calmly, faithfully, As life reshapes to match your new frequency, you are not chasing the dream. The dream is chasing you. Once you become the version of you who already lives it. Emotions are not random. They are not meaningless reactions. Emotions are energy, pure and powerful, flowing through the body like a signal. Like a vibration sent out into the field of creation, they are not simply feelings, they are frequencies. They move, they radiate, they reach out and draw back to you that which matches their essence. This is why emotion is not something to suppress or escape. It is something to understand, to guide, and to use with purpose. Every emotion you experience sends a message to the unseen. When you feel low, when you dwell in fear, anger, shame, or doubt, you are not just having a bad day. You are aligning with the lower frequency reality one that will reflect back to you the very same feeling you are emitting. The outer world mirrors the inner climate. It does not respond to words or desperate affirmations spoken in contradiction to your feelings. It responds to the truth of your emotional state. But what happens when you begin to rise, when you start to cultivate elevated emotions, not as a reaction to circumstances, but as a choice of practice? Everything changes. Gratitude, love, peace, joy. These are not simply pleasant feelings. They are the gateways to higher realities. The moment you feel gratitude, you are telling the universe it is done. I have received. You are no longer begging, no longer waiting. You have become the version of you who lives in the fulfillment of the desire. Love is the purest frequency, not romantic love, but unconditional inner radiant love. Love for life, for being, for self. This emotion raises your vibration faster than logic ever could. It lifts you beyond resistance, beyond fear, and in that high vibration, the reality you once dreamed of begins to feel natural, even inevitable. Oh, that's the key. It must feel natural. The emotion you hold makes it so. Peace, too, is a frequency often overlooked. Peace is powerful. It is not passive. Peace says, I no longer need to struggle. I trust the unfolding, and in that trust that is released, and in that release, manifestation flows faster, clearer, with less effort, because creation does not respond to force. It responds to surrender, to faith, to emotional alignment. Do not manifest by thinking harder. You manifest by feeling deeper. Thought is the blueprint. Emotion is the builder. The more you feel in harmony with your desired reality, the more swiftly it is constructed in your world. You must not wait for the thing to happen to feel good. You must feel good to allow the thing to happen. Imagine the person you wish to become. How do they feel? What emotions fill their day? Start there. Begin to generate those emotions now, even before anything has changed. Because in truth, the inner change is the cause. The outer result is the effect. Emotion moves reality. Emotion is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. When you align emotionally with what you desire, you shorten the distance between you and the out. Time is no longer the barrier vibration is, and when your emotional vibration matches your imagined future, time collapses. The future becomes. Now let this be your practice, not to force manifestations, but to feel your way into them, to choose the highest emotions, even when nothing has changed. To live from the inside out, not the outside in, because when you choose gratitude in the absence of reason, you become magnetic. When you choose joy before the breakthrough, you bring the breakthrough closer. When you choose love before the healing, you activate healing. You are not powerless. You're not stuck. You are a creative force shaping your life with every feeling you sustain. So feel wisely. Feel richly. Let emotion be your tool, your guide, your magic. Emotions are energy and emotion in you. By feeling on purpose can move your world. Imagination is not fantasy. It is not mere daydreaming or mental escape. Imagination is the original act of creation. Everything that exists in your life right now began first in the unseen world of thought, shaped by the silent power of imagination. Before anything becomes form, it must first be accepted in consciousness. What you vividly imagine and emotionally accept as true plants the seed of your future experience. The world you see is nothing more than the harvest of what you once imagined and believed. Many believe the world is shaped by action, by effort, by external striving. But those are effects, not causes. The true cause lies deeper. All creation begins in the invisible. The mind is the womb, the inner world, the workshop. It is not what you do for hours that shapes your destiny. It is what you dwell upon in the secret place of your mind. Imagination is not idle. It is active. It is spiritual. It is the divine gift that allows you to rise above circumstance and see the world not as it is, but as it could be. And in that, seeing you make it so. When you imagine something clearly in detail and add to it the feeling of reality, The sensation that it is already yours. You trigger a shift in vibration. And when your vibration changes, the world responds. You do not have to wait for permission. You do not need proof. The outer world always lags behind the inner vision. So many delay their transformation because they are waiting for evidence. But the evidence comes after the seed is sown, and the seed is your imagined scene. It is your vision felt as real, accepted without doubt. Whatever you persist in imagining with faith becomes law in your world. This is why idle worry is danger. When you imagine things going wrong, when you rehearse fears and worst-case scenarios, you are planting seeds to weed only weeds, not flowers. Your imagination does not care whether you use it to build or to destroy, it simply obeys. It receives the command through feeling not well. The secret then is not just to imagine, but to imagine with emotion. You must feel your scene as though it is happening now. You must enter it so completely in your inner world that the outer world becomes. The senses may still reflect the old story, but you remain loyal to the vision, knowing it is only a matter of time before the world reshapes itself to match your inner assumption. Imagination is more than visualization. It is full embodiment. It is hearing the sounds, seeing the colors, feeling the textures of your desired reality. It is holding the end in mind and living from it mentally rather than towards it physically. You assume it is done. You let go of the need to figure out how, and in that surrender, creation begins to move. Think of imagination. As a spiritual blueprint, you are always building something. The question is, are you building consciously or unconsciously? Are you imagining based on past disappointments or based on new intention? The future does not come from what you have known. It comes from what you see and feel in the stillness of your own mind. That do not underestimate this power. The world honors action, but action follows vision. When you imagine rightly inspired, action arises effortlessly. You are led. You are guided, the right people, the right moments. The right doors begin to appear not because you forced them, but because your inner world. Among them, creation is not something you wait for. It is something you initiate. Imagination is the seed. Feeling is the water. Faith is the light. And time is the soil that brings it all together. So imagine, and imagine boldly. Refuse to return to the past. Let your mind dwell only on what is lovely, noble, and true. What you vividly imagine and emotionally accept as real, without doubt, without resistance, must come to pass. It is law. It is your gift. Use it well. The truth of who you are has never changed. It cannot be tarnished, diminished, or lost, only forgotten beneath the noise of the world, beneath fear, doubt, and limitation. There is a core within you that is pure light, pure power, pure knowing. And the closer you come to that truth, the faster your vibration rises. High vibration is not something you earn or chase. It is what you return to. It is your natural state, your original frequency, before you were taught otherwise. From the moment you arrived in this world, the world began to shape you. You were told what was possible, what was practical, what was safe. You were conditioned to believe in lack, in struggle, and separation from your desires. You were trained to slow your energy, to blend into a world that forgot its own divinity, but deep within, something never forgot, something always remembered. That spark is your true self, and it is always calling you home. High vibration is the signal of that remembrance. It's what you feel when you are in alignment, when you're no longer resisting the truth of your being. It's the quiet joy that arises when you follow your intuition. It's the peace you feel when you release control. It's the surge of inspiration, of love, of presence. These are not passing emotions. They are echoes of your essence. They are reminders that you are more than flesh, more than history, more than circumstances. The lower vibrations, fear, anger, shame, guilt, are not your enemies, but they are not your home either. There are signals, indicators that you are living in a version of yourself that was handed to you, not chosen by you. There are teachers showing you where you are out of alignment. The pain is not punishment, it is feedback, and the faster you learn to observe it, honor it, and release it, the faster you rise. You do not have to force high vibration. You only have to stop clinging to what keeps you low. You are not meant to carry the burdens of your past. You are not meant to wear masks to please the world. You are not meant to doubt your power, your worth, your beauty. These are illusions taught, reinforced, and repeated until they seemed real. But the truth never left you. It simply waits for your return. The more you align with your authentic self, the one who feels deeply, who speaks truthfully, who dreams without apology, the faster your vibration becomes. And with that speed comes clarity. you begin to see life differently. Opportunities appear, relationships shift, circumstances respond. You don't have to chase outcomes. They begin to move toward you, drawn by the resonance of your truth. To live at a high vibration is to live lightly, not because life is always easy, but because you no longer resist it. You meet each moment with presence, not panic. You trust the unfolding not because you know the details, but because you know who you are. You've stopped identifying with the noise. And you've remembered the stillness beneath it. The fastest way to raise your vibration is to return to what is real. Gratitude, compassion, joy, trust. Not because these make you better, but because they reveal who you've always been. You are not trying to become something new. You are peeling away what is false. You are unlearning the illusion and reclaiming the true. So when the world feels heavy, pause, go within, feel the breath. Remember who you are. High vibration is not a destination. It is the frequency of your being. When you stop pretending to be anything less, you are light. You are love. You are limitless. Let everything else fall away. Faith is not a matter of hoping that something might happen. It is the inner certainty that it already has. It is the quiet conviction that defies logic, the stillness that remains even when the senses scream otherwise. Faith is not passive. It is not waiting. It is an active state of inner knowing, a deliberate assumption of the desired outcome as already real, felt deeply and without doubt. It is the invisible substance from which all visible things are shaped. When you feel the wish fulfilled, you are not asking life to bring you something. You are affirming that it already belongs to you. And that feeling is the key. It is not enough to repeat words to visualize an outcome or to recite affirmations like a ritual. These are only shells unless they are filled with emotion. It is the feeling that moves mountains. It is the inner atmosphere that creates the outer change. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you believe, and belief is not just thought. It is embodied emotional truth. To believe with faith means to walk through your day as if the thing were already done. You are no longer looking for signs. You are becoming the sign. You are no longer asking if it's working. You are living from the end, knowing it has already worked. Most people delay their manifestation because they keep waiting for the external world to confirm the internal desire. They look to the mirror and ask it to smile first, but the mirror can only reflect. The moment you believe from within, truly believe without needing proof. The outer must conform. The law cannot be broken. The outer world is not cause, it is effect. It follows your conviction like a shadow. Faith requires that you detach from the how and the when. These are the domains of the intellect, not the imagination. The mind wants a timeline. The soul knows better. It moves in trust. It rests in the unseen. When you live in faith, you are no longer negotiating with reality. You are not hoping. You are dwelling in the feeling of it already being true. And that is enough to feel the wish fulfilled, is to touch the invisible realm and claim it as your own. You close your eyes and see clearly. You feel deeply, fully, without resistance. You allow yourself to be taken over by the mood of the outcome. You rehearse not the problem, but the solution, not the lack, but the abundance. You've become the one who already has it already lives. It already knows it to be theirs. This is not fantasy, it is creation. You are not escaping reality. You are forming it. Faith is the spiritual substance that calls things unseen into form. You don't need to convince others or even yourself in words. The feeling does the work. It anchors the unseen the moment you feel the wish fulfilled. Manifestation begins not when it arrives, not when it shows up on your doorstep, but in the moment you dwell in it as real. It may take time to appear, but that is no concern of yours. The seed takes time to sprout, but its emergence is certain. Your only job is to remain faithful to the feeling. Stay loyal to the unseen. Do not be shaken by appearances. Do not argue with delay. These are tests of persistence, not evidence of failure. Keep returning to the state of the wish fulfilled. Keep breathing life into your vision with feeling. What you feel consistently becomes fact. That is the quiet power of faith. It does not ask, it declares. It does not hope, it assumes. And in that assumption, life rearranges itself to match your inner truth. Persistence is the key that unlocks the door between the unseen and the seen. It is not enough to assume, once to imagine, once to feel, once the creative power of the inner world is activated by repetition, by sustained belief, unwavering focus, and the refusal to be swayed by appearances. What you assume with consistency becomes the law of your world, for consciousness is the only reality. An assumption is its blueprint. Reassume action. When felt as true, begins to clothe itself in form. But between the assumption and its full manifestation, there is often a gap. And in this gap lies the test. The temptation to doubt, to abandon the vision, to return to the evidence of the senses. Yet it is in that very moment. That persistence must rise to persist in the assumption, to remain loyal to the unseen truth, regardless of what the outer world reflects. Back to you, the world is a mirror, not a master. It does not dictate your reality. It reflects it. What you assume to be true inwardly, the world will echo. But it cannot do so instantly in all cases. For time is the cushion that allows the unseen to become seen. Do not be discouraged by the lag. Do not measure your success by how quickly things appear. Measure it by how unwaveringly you can remain faithful to your inner state. Persistence is not struggle. It is not forcing, it is not efforted in fear or desperation. It is calm, focused, dwelling in the end. It is the quiet power of the one who knows, who rests in the inner conviction that what is imagined and accepted must come to pass, even if the outer seems unchanged. You remain unchanged in your assumption. You do not explain, you do not seek reassurance. You simply continue to feel the wish fulfilled. When you persist in your assumption, you are training the subconscious mind, and the subconscious is the servant that never sleeps. It does not argue. It accepts what is impressed upon it with feeling and repetition, and once impressed, it sets the wheels in motion through people, events, and circumstances to bring your assumption into form. But this process cannot complete itself. If you constantly undo the work with doubt or contradiction, to assume something is not to wish for it, but to live from it. You think from the end, not of the end. You move through life as though it were already, so you react as the person who already lives in the desired state. This is persistence. Not in thought alone, but in feeling and identity, in inner know. Thing. You become it before it becomes visible. Do not be fooled by appearances that contradict your assumption. The world often rearranges itself through what looks like chaos or opposition, but if you persist, what seemed like delay or denial will reveal itself as part of the unfolding. The key is not to react to what is, but to remain faithful to what you've chosen within. You must persist even when you feel nothing is happening, even when the world seems to shout the opposite, even when doubt knocks and fear whispers. You return again and again to your chosen state. You rehearse it, you dwell in it, you affirm it, not because you need to convince the world, but because you are commanding it. This is the law. What you assume consistently and unwaveringly must become your experience, not because you are lucky, not because the world has changed, but because you are no longer living from circumstance. You are living from consciousness. And consciousness shapes reality, so persist not with tension, but with faith, not with impatience, but with knowing what you persist in, assuming you inevitably become. When you choose to vibrate higher, you do more than just feel good. You align with the deepest truth of who you are. You no longer face reality you shape. Your imagination becomes your workshop. Your emotions become your compass, and your unwavering faith becomes the bridge between the invisible and the visible. The outer world becomes a reflection, no longer a dictator, and you become the master of your own experience. You do not manifest by effort, but by assumption. You do not wait for proof. You live as though it is already done. Every thought, every feeling, every act of inner persistence is a seed planted in the unseeded, and when watered, with belief, with feeling, with patience, it must grow. Remember, you do not attract what you want, but what you are being, so become it now. Feel it now, assume it. Now let the vibration of your desired reality flow through your inner world and trust that the outer must follow. This is not hope, it is law. Thank you for listening. May you go forward boldly, vibrating higher, manifesting faster, and living as a creator you were always meant to be.
I will share with you the most effective technique I have ever discovered, a practice so transformative that when repeated faithfully, it rewrites the very fabric of your reality. The power lies not in the complexity of the method, but in the persistence and conviction with which you apply it. What I am about to tell you is not theory but law. It is as immutable as gravity, is serving as the rising sun. When you truly grasp this principle and apply it with unwavering faith, your world will shift with such precision that you will stand in awe of your own creative power. The technique is this. Take your desire, your wish fulfilled, and repeat it to yourself as a present fact. Not as something that will be, but as something that already is. 100 times each day, affirm your desire as an accomplished fact. But the crucial detail that most miss, it is not the mere repetition of words that ph, but the feeling of naturalness that accompanies your declaration. Let me explain the profound mechanics at work here. Your consciousness, your I am, is God Himself individualized. When you declare a thing to be true while occupying the state of your wish fulfilled, you are engaging the very power that created the universe. This is not positive thinking. This is the activation of universal law. Consider this truth. Everything you now accept as reality was once merely a thought and imagination. Your current circumstances, your relationships, your position in life, all were first conceived in imagination before they materialized in your world. The outer world is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner assumptions. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily, you are not engaging in mere affirmation. You are programming the depths of your subconscious mind. You are impressing upon the substance of creation itself the pattern of your desired reality. This is why the feeling is crucial. Each repetition must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness, the feeling that your desire is already a fact. Let me share with you a secret about this practice that few understand. The number 100 is not arbitrary. It represents completeness, fullness, the totality of conviction. When you repeat your desire 100 times, you are symbolically declaring its completeness in your consciousness. You are filling every corner of your mind with the reality of your wish fulfilled. But remember this vital truth. The words themselves are merely vessels. They carry the feeling, the consciousness of your desire fulfilled. As you repeat your statement, you must feel the reality of it. If your desire is for financial abundance, you must feel the security, the freedom, the joy of that abundance. If your desire is for a loving relationship, you must feel the warmth, the companionship, the deep connection of that relationship. Many of you ask, but Wayne, how can I feel something that isn't yet true? Here is the supreme secret. In the realm of consciousness, there is no yet. There is only an although. When you enter the state of consciousness where your desire dwells, you are actually entering the reality where it already exists. Your physical reality has no choice but to conform to this new state of consciousness. The universe you see is not outside of you, it is within you. It is your own wonderful human imagination externalized. When you repeat your desire 100 times with feeling, you are literally rearranging the universe because you are rearranging your consciousness, and your consciousness is the universe. Let me give you a practical example. Suppose you desire a particular position in your company. Instead of saying, I want that position, or I will get that position, you would declare, I am so grateful to be in my perfect position doing work I love. Repeat this 100 times daily, and this is crucial, feel the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the joy of actually occupying that position. As you do this, something remarkable begins to happen. The people around you will begin to respond differently. Opportunities will appear that weren't there before. Circumstances will erase themselves in ways that support your new reality. This isn't coincidence or magic, it is law. Remember, the outer world has no choice but to reflect your inner convictions. Just as your reflection in a mirror must move as you move, your external reality must shift to match your internal state. This is why persistent repetition with feeling is so powerful. It creates an unshakable conviction in your consciousness. Now, some of you might be thinking, but I've tried affirmations before, and they didn't work. The difference here lies in understanding that you are not trying to convince yourself of something. You are instead occupying a state of consciousness where your desire is already fulfilled. The repetition is not to convince, but to saturate your consciousness with the reality of your wish fulfilled. Think of it this way: when you wake up in the morning, you don't need to convince yourself that you are who you are. You simply know it. This is the kind of naturalness you must achieve with your desire. Through repeated occupation of the state of your wish fulfilled, it becomes just as natural as your own name. The universe responds not to your words, but to your state of consciousness. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are systematically altering your state of consciousness. You are literally becoming the person who has what you desire. This is why the universe must rearrange itself. It is simply conforming to who you have become. Let me share another vital aspect of this practice. As you repeat your desire, you must exclude all contrary evidence from your physical senses. If your bank account shows lack while you are declaring abundance, you must remain faithful to your inner conviction rather than the external fact. The external will change, it must change, but only after you have firmly established the new reality in your consciousness. This requires a level of mental discipline that few are willing to exercise. It is easy to accept what your senses show you. It takes spiritual maturity to remain faithful to your inner conviction, despite contrary evidence. But this is precisely what separates those who manifest their desires from those who remain trapped in their current circumstances. Remember, every time you repeat your desire with feeling, you are dropping a seed into the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Just as a farmer doesn't dig up his seeds every day to check their progress, you must not constantly check the external world for evidence of your manifestation. Plant your seed through repetition, water it with feeling, and trust in the law. The law operates with mathematical precision. Just as 2 plus 2 must equal 4, your consciousness may conceive through repetition must produce its equivalent in your outer world. This is not theory, this is law. I have tested it countless times in my own life and in the lives of thousands who have applied these principles. Consider this profound truth. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in the outer world is simply consciousness objectified. When you understand this, you realize that by changing your consciousness through persistent repetition of your desire, you are literally changing the only reality there is. This is why the universe must rearrange itself. It has no choice. It is not separate from you. It is you pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every event in your world is simply your consciousness made visible. Change your consciousness through this practice of repetition with feeling, and you change everything. Now let me address a question that often arises: how long must I continue this practice? The answer is until your desire feels natural, until it feels more real to you than the current facts of your life. For some, this might happen quickly. For others, it might take longer. The time required depends on your ability to remain faithful to your inner conviction. Remember, time is a human construct. In the realm of consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no time. There is only the intensity of your conviction. This is why some desires manifest quickly, while others take longer. The speed of manifestation is directly proportional to the completeness of your acceptance of your desire as fact. This is where the power of repeating your desire 100 times daily becomes evident. Each repetition, when done with feeling, deepens your conviction. It strengthens your acceptance of your desire as fact. It makes your new reality more and more natural to you until it becomes impossible for you to accept anything less. Let me share another crucial aspect of this practice. As you repeat your desire, you must also repeat the feeling of gratitude for its fulfillment. Gratitude is not merely a positive emotion. It is the acceptance of something as yours. When you feel grateful for something, you are acknowledging its presence in your life. This is why I often teach that the feeling of gratitude is one of the highest spiritual frequencies you can maintain. When you combine your repetition with genuine gratitude, you are not only declaring your desire as fact, you are accepting it as already yours. This combination is unbeatable in its manifestational power. Now let's address another vital point. As you practice this technique, you must guard your mental diet with the same care that you would guard your physical diet if you were training for an athletic event. Every thought that crosses your mind either supports or contradicts your desire. This is why the repetition must be consistent and why it must be done 100 times. The number 100 creates a momentum in your consciousness that helps override contrary thoughts and feelings. It builds a foundation of conviction so strong that casual negative thoughts cannot shake it. This is the power of persistence in consciousness. Consider how a river creates a canyon. It's not through occasional powerful surges, but through constant, persistent flow. This is how you must approach your practice. Each repetition is like a drop of water, seemingly insignificant on its own, but powerful enough to reshape reality when applied consistently. Your consciousness is like a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds you plant in it. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are planting and nurturing the seeds of your future reality. Just as a garden doesn't spring up overnight, your manifestation may not appear instantly, but if you remain faithful to your practice, it must appear. This brings us to another crucial understanding. The law works with perfect precision, but it works according to its own timing. Your role is not to determine when or how your desire will manifest. Your role is simply to persist in the consciousness of your wish, fulfilled through faithful repetition. Many fail in their manifestations because they try to dictate the how and when of their desires' fulfillment. This is a mistake. The how and when belong to the law. Your task is simply to persist in your new state of consciousness through regular, feeling-based repetition of your desire. Remember, the universe knows far more than your conscious mind about how to bring about your desire. It has access to infinite possibilities, infinite channels through which your good can come to you. By trying to dictate the how and when, you actually limit the channels through which your desire can manifest. This is why I emphasize feeling over forcing. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with genuine feeling, you are allowing the infinite intelligence of the universe to arrange the perfect circumstances for your manifestation. You are surrendering the how and when while maintaining absolute faith in the what. Let me share something profound about this practice that few understand. When you repeat your desire with feeling, you are actually experiencing your future in the present moment. You are collapsing time. You are bringing the future into the now. This is why the universe must rearrange itself. You are creating a new pattern in the face to face time itself. If you think about this every moment of your life, you are in a particular state of consciousness. This state is made up of your beliefs, assumptions, and feelings about yourself and your world. When you deliberately enter and maintain a new state through conscious repetition of your desire, you are literally stepping into a new dimension of experience. This is not metaphorical. It is literal. Your consciousness is the substance of reality itself. When you change your consciousness through persistent repetition with feeling, you are literally rearranging the substance from which all things are made. This is why results must follow. It is law. Now, let me address something that often confuses people about this practice. Some believe that merely repeating words 100 times will bring about their desire. This is not the case. The words are simply tools to help you maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled. It is the feeling that creates the reality. We think of it this way when you are in love. You don't need to convince yourself that you're in love. You simply feel it. This is the kind of naturalness you must achieve with your desire. The repetition is designed to help you maintain this feeling consistently until it becomes your dominant state of consciousness. This is why I emphasize that each repetition must be accompanied by feeling. Without feeling, words are empty shells. But when you combine repetition with genuine feeling, you are engaging the creative power of the universe itself. You are literally speaking your new reality into existence. Consider the biblical phrase, "In the beginning was the Word." This refers not to mere verbal expression, but to the creative power of consciousness itself. When you repeat your desire 100 times with feeling, you are engaging this same creative power. You are speaking your world into existence. This brings us to another crucial point: the importance of persistence. Some of you might begin this practice with enthusiasm, but abandon it when results don't appear immediately. This is a grave mistake. Remember, you are reprogramming your entire consciousness. This takes persistence and patience. Think of it like learning a new language. At first, it feels awkward and unnatural, but with persistent practice, it becomes second nature. The same is true with this practice. At first, your new state of consciousness might feel forced or fake, but with persistent repetition, it becomes your natural state of being. This is why the number 100 is so powerful. It represents complete dedication to your new state of consciousness. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily, you are declaring to the universe that you are absolutely committed to your new reality. This level of commitment always brings results. Remember, the universe is not testing you. It is simply responding to your consciousness with mathematical precision. When you maintain a consistent state of consciousness through persistent repetition with feeling, the universe has no choice but to reflect that consciousness back to you in physical form. Let me share another vital truth about this practice. As you repeat your desire, you must also be willing to let go of your old self-concept. You cannot hold on to who you were and simultaneously become who you desire to be. This is why the repetition must be accompanied by a willingness to change. Many of you hold on to your old stories, your old limitations, while trying to create something new. This is like trying to fill a cup that's already full. You must be willing to empty your cup, to let go of your old self-concept, to make room for your new reality. This is where the power of 100 repetitions becomes especially significant. Each repetition is like a chisel, slowly but surely reshaping your self-concept. With persistence, your new self-concept becomes more real to you than your old limitations. Consider this: every great achievement in human history began with a change in consciousness. The Wright brothers had to believe in the possibility of human flight before they could manifest it. Edison had to maintain the consciousness of success through thousands of failed attempts before manifesting the light bulb. Your desire, whatever it may be, follows the same law. Through persistent repetition with feeling, you are creating the consciousness of your desire fulfilled. And just as surely as the Wright brothers and Edison succeeded, your desire must manifest when you maintain the proper state of consciousness. This brings us to another crucial understanding: the importance of maintaining your new state of consciousness, even when your senses deny it. This is where most people fail. They allow current circumstances to pull them out of their desired state of consciousness. Remember, your senses show you the world as it was, not as it will be. They show you the effects of your past thoughts and feelings, not the reality you are creating through current practice. This is why you must persist in your new state, regardless of appearance. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are creating a new cause. The effect must follow, it is law. But you must give the law time to work. You must maintain your faith in the unseen reality you are creating through your consciousness. Think of it like planting a garden. You don't plant seeds one day and dig them up the next to see if they're growing. You trust in the law of growth. You know that if you've planted the seeds and provided the proper conditions, growth must occur. The same is true with your desire. Each repetition of your desire with feeling is like watering and nurturing your seed. You don't need to know how it will grow. You don't need to figure out the process. Your only task is to maintain the proper mental and emotional state through persistent repetition. This brings us to another vital truth: the importance of living from your desire rather than for it. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, You are not trying to get something. You are acknowledging what is already yours in consciousness. This is a subtle but crucial distinction. Most people practice manifestation techniques from a state of wanting or needing. This actually pushes their desire away because want and needing can fly lack. When you live from your desire, when you repeat it as an accomplished fact, you are creating from a state of fulfillment. Consider this: when you have something, you don't spend time wanting it or figuring out how to get it. You simply enjoy having it. This is the state of consciousness you must thus achieve through your repetition practice. You must repeat your desire from a state of having not wanting. This is why feeling is so crucial to this practice. When you combine repetition with the feeling of fulfillment, you are creating a new pattern in the universal substance. The feeling makes it real in consciousness, and what is real in consciousness must become real in experience. Let me tell you something profound about this practice that few truly understand. When you repeat your desire 100 times daily, you are actually engaged in a sacred ritual. You are performing what the ancients called true prayer. Prayer is not begging or pleading. It is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Each repetition, when done with feeling, is like a drop of water filling the cup of your consciousness. When the cup is full, when your consciousness is saturated with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, manifestation must follow. This is not magic, this is law. Consider how a mother feels about her child. She doesn't need to convince herself of her love. She doesn't need to repeat affirmations about being a mother. She simply is a mother, and this state of consciousness creates her experience of motherhood. This is the kind of naturalness you must achieve with your desire. Through 100 daily repetitions with feeling, you are becoming the person who already has what you desire. You are not trying to get something. You are acknowledging what is already yours in the reality of consciousness. Remember this vital truth. The external world has no power to prevent your desire from manifesting when you maintain the proper state of consciousness. Your circumstances, no matter how challenging they may appear, are simply shadows of past thinking. They have no power except that which you give them through your attention. When you consistently repeat your desire 100 times daily with feeling, you are withdrawing power from your current circumstances and investing it in your new reality. You are literally shifting the balance of power in your consciousness. This is why persistence is so crucial. Each repetition builds momentum in your consciousness. Each feeling-filled declaration of your desire, as fact, moves you closer to the point where your new reality must externalize itself. Think of it like learning to play a musical instrument. At first it feels awkward and unnatural, but with persistent practice it becomes second nature. The same is true with this practice. At first your new state of consciousness might feel forced, but with faithful repetition, it becomes your natural state of being. Let me share one final truth about this practice. The power lies not in the words themselves, but in the state of consciousness they help you achieve and maintain. The words are like a ladder helping you reach a higher level of consciousness. Once you reach that level, you must live there. This is why I say to repeat your desire 100 times daily. This repetition helps you maintain your new state of consciousness until it becomes your natural state of being. And when this happens, when your desired state becomes your natural state, the universe has no choice but to conform to your consciousness. Remember, you are not trying to convince the universe to give you something. You are declaring what is already yours in consciousness. Through persistent repetition, with feeling, you are making your desire so real in consciousness that it must manifest in experience. This is the law of consciousness, and it never fails. What you accept as true in consciousness must manifest in your world. This is why the universe rearranges itself to accommodate your picture of reality, because your consciousness is reality. Practice this technique faithfully. Repeat your desire 100 times daily with genuine feeling. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled. Do this and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your new state of consciousness. For this is the law, and the law never fails.